Today I'm going to show you how to make water kefir. Water kefir is a non-dairy probiotic drink that is yummy. It has a little bit of fizz. It's like kombucha, but it's not tea-based like kombucha is. You use water for your base. You can also make milk kefir, which is more of like a yogurt texture, kind of smoothie-like, but today we're going to do water. Some people say kefir, I say kefir. You know, tomato, tomato. Here's what you're gonna need. Water kefir grains. So you're gonna have to buy these dehydrated and rehydrate them yourself. I'll tell you where to get them. A jar, quart size is preferred in the beginning. Water, we use our filtered water from our Berkey because you want non-chlorinated water. Non-fluorinated is the best, but we don't have our fluoride filters in our Berkey currently, and it's been working fine. A plastic strainer, not metal, and some cane sugar. We use organic cane sugar from Costco. And then at the second ferment, which we'll get into, you're gonna need some fruit or some fruit juice. And that's it. Let's get into how to make it. So I've made water kefir in the past, and then it was like several years ago, and I wanted to start making it again. So I got these kefir grains from Azure. You can get it from a couple of sites, also online. I'll link some of those down below, but since I was already putting in my Azure standard pickup, I went ahead and got them from there, and it was a great price. These were, I think, around $15, and so you can use these over and over once you rehydrate them. So I'm gonna insert some B-roll because I did some B-roll when I rehydrated these months ago, and I've been making it ever since. So they look very crystal-like, they're very small, they're clear, and then they're hard, like little crystals. So first what you wanna do is dissolve about a quarter cup of your cane sugar into about a cup of water. You don't want it too hot, but just warm, and then pour that into your quart-sized jar and then fill it up the rest of the way with water. After that, you're gonna dump in your dehydrated water kefir grains, and you're gonna let them sit covered with some kind of like towel or mesh or coffee filter for 3 to 5 days. This is a one-time thing to rehydrate them. Once you rehydrate them, you can use them over and over, and the whole process will only take a couple of days to ferment instead of 3 to 5. So once you do your first time rehydrating of these dry crystals, they'll kind of plump up and they'll get more, they'll still be clear, but they'll be just plump and they'll be soft. The first batch that you do after you rehydrate them, it may taste a little off and weird, but what I do is I just usually discard that one. You can drink it, it's fine, but it tastes a little off, and so I end up using my second batch for my, the one I really want to drink. After the 3 days, I kind of just stick my finger in to see how sweet the water is. I think I did let my first rehydrating batch go for the full 5 days, and then when the water starts to get a little bit less sweet, you can start your first batch. So in order to do that, you're gonna take your quart-sized jar. Actually, let me show you, because I need to switch out my kefir grains that I have here into a new batch, so this is gonna be the same process, so let me just bring you along here. Okay, let's just say these are your rehydrated grains, and you want to now put them into another jar for the second ferment. So let me explain. So after you rehydrate them, they basically can do a first ferment. So once you put them in here, they will ferment for 2 days, and then you'll put them in another jar with some fruit, and that will be your second ferment. So that's how you're gonna flavor your kefir. You can drink it as is, but I like it a lot with the fruit, and it gives it a lot of variety. This actually is darker than normally is, but I added some blackstrap molasses, which is optional. You do not need this, so I'm not sure how it's gonna taste. Usually it's a little more clear, kind of like a cloudy water. Once we make the second batch, which I'll show you, you'll see how clear it is. So I wanna take these and I wanna put them into here to start my second ferment, but I'll rewind to show you the first process before that. This is the first process you'll do. So after you rehydrate your grains and you strain out the sugar water and you keep the grains in the jar, there are my little grains, my little probiotic buddies. Oh no, don't fall. So I'm actually just gonna throw these all back into that jar so I can just refill it up with some sugar water. Why messy another jar? And these do proliferate, so they do like increase their amount, so you could split them up. I have not split mine up yet, but this is what they look like. little crystals. They're called grains. It's pretty cool that they make a little sparkly beverage that has probiotic. You're going to take some warm water, which I have some Berkey filtered water here. I'm going to pour some in here and then microwave it for just like 45 seconds or so. And then I'm going to dissolve a 1/4 cup of my cane sugar into here so that it dissolves. And then we will fill it up with water so it's not too hot. Pour it over here, then fill the rest up with water. Dump it in there. Stir it up. This you can use metal for. You just don't want to touch the metal to the kefir grains. It's pretty dissolved. You just want to make sure that it's not too hot because then it'll kill the grains. So we're going to pour this in here. And then top it off the rest with water. Okay. And this is ready to sit for 2 days. So it gets this little thing around the edge. You can clean it every couple of times. Like I'll wipe this off, but it's fine. It'll look a little murky. This looks a little murkier than normal because I had the blackstrap molasses in there, but cover this up. You can use any mesh thing, paper, filter, whatever. Cover this. Use my little hair tie. Actually, I'm going to write the date. Yeah, that was definitely wrong. I somehow did not write the date that I changed it because it was definitely not the 8th. This is super helpful because then I know how many days it's been and I just write whether it was morning or night. And that way you can kind of keep track and see how many days you like it to ferment in this stage. And like I said, it depends on the temperature of your house. Like the warmer it is, the faster it's going to ferment. And, you know, eat up all of the sugar in that water to make the probiotic drink. So I really like doing it like this. It's super easy. And I just set it over here where it's out of the way and out of direct sunlight and just untouched. So I keep it over here. There's my little sauerkraut going. I got to change them and test them today. So kind of just stays in this corner out of the way and I, you know, check it every couple of days. So after 2 days, when you are ready to strain it, you will strain out your liquid like so. And this is now where we get to flavor it. This is the fun part because you can do so many different things. So what I'm going to do is I really like fresh fruit the best because I feel like it gives it more carbonation. I have used frozen fruit and I have used fruit juice, but fresh fruit is definitely my favorite. So I've done strawberry. This is one that was in the fridge. I have done blueberry. I have done mango. I have done a strawberry basil, which was excellent. So the possibilities are endless. The most important thing is that you want to chop them up into, you know, smaller pieces. So this is just some like leftover fruit in the fridge. So I'm going to chop this up and maybe add some extra blueberries. But you want to chop it so that there's more surface area. And then like if there's, you know, let's say blueberries, you want to like squish them a little bit so the juices come out so it can get all through here. I'm just going to put it in the jar basically until it's full. You know, about a 1/4 cup or so. Okay, here it is. Now, what we're going to do is seal this up. So if you use a metal lid, which I like to do because it gives it a lot of fizz, you will have to keep an eye on it because if it gets too full or too like carbonated, it will bust your glass, which we have not had happen in a mason jar, but when we put them in swing top jars, they did explode on us one time years ago. Do not be afraid of it. You'll be okay. But what you want to check is you want to burp it, what it's called. But you like loosen it up and then you'll hear like fizz come out and then you just tighten it back up. So every 6 to 12 hours, but what we're going to do is put the lid on this and we're going to let it sit on the counter for 24 hours. So then we will put it in the fridge and it will stall the fermentation process and then it's ready to drink. So I tightened this up and now I'm just going to sit it next to my other one and let it sit 24 hours on the counter undisturbed. If you need to, you can use like a dry erase marker and write, you know, what the date is and the time. If you're worried you're going to forget it, but since it's 24 hours, I just know tomorrow at some point, even if it's in the evening and it's afternoon now, I'll just put it in the fridge. So after it chills in the fridge, you're going to get one like this. Now we're going to open it and you're going to hear the fizz. Look at that. It's gonna. Wow, that one's really fizzy. All right, so they're not always that fizzy, but this is the difference between fresh fruit. Oh, my cameraman's taking some. That's a good one, right?
That's really good, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the difference I find with fresh fruit versus like frozen or even like a organic pure juice. The fresh fruit really gives it that extra carbonation, and it's truly my favorite. I mean, it's so much better than soda, like way better. And we love sparkling water, like sparkling flavored water, but this is just like above all because it's not overly sweet. It has a little bit of sweetness, but that's just from the fruit. The sugar water that we have put the kefir grains in when they're fermenting, the grains eat all of that up. But when you flavor it, it just gives it enough sweetness that it's so good. So our daughter loves kefir. She's always like, can I have some kefir? And she has loved every flavor that I've done.
She's 3.
Yeah, and she's 3. So it's super easy, and you're getting your probiotics. So you do not need to spend money on pills. Like, you can make them naturally, and it can be fun and delicious, and I would highly encourage you to try it if you've never tried it. So you can drink as much of this as you want, and then pop it back in the fridge. So I try to have one going all of the time, and I could probably separate my grains by now. It's been several months since I've started doing them, and they have increased in number, but I haven't done it yet. If you have any questions about making water kefir, things that I didn't touch on, please leave a comment down below. I will respond to it. Until we meet again, don't forget, life is better together.